What is up, guys? Today we are doing part 2 of our manual transmission swap. So if you guys remember last time, we went ahead and pulled out this automatic transmission. We went ahead and ripped everything and we dropped this out, and it came out pretty nicely. And as you can see inside, we can check out, it looks like there might have been a little oil leak. So we might go ahead and replace the rear main seal. I went ahead and bought a new one just in case. So that's a pretty good idea. We'll go ahead and take a look under the car as well, just to kind of get an idea of what's going on under there. But basically today what we're going to do, we're just doing the preparation stage in order to get the new transmission in. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to undo the flywheel, or I guess they call it a flex plate for an automatic transmission. We're going to take that off the engine, and then we're also going to try to install these two pedals today. So we have our brake pedal and then our clutch pedal as well. You have to replace the brake pedal because it's like a big bar on the old one, and it's just a small stopper for this one. I guess they might interfere or whatever. So that's going to be a little bit of work because we're going to have to take off a duct, because there's a vent duct that goes right across the top of here. And so we're going to have to go ahead and do a little bit of disassembly inside. But other than that, we might go ahead and also put the flywheel on. That is what I'm hoping to be able to get, is the flywheel and new clutch, which will be under there. It's a little bit difficult to see. But we're going to go ahead and see what we can do today, and we should be ready to just straight up bring the new transmission and put it right back in for the next episode. Alright guys, so here's what it looks like when you take off the transmission. This is our flex plate right here. It's just got this ring for the starter, and then these 4 bolt holes go to the torque converter on our transmission. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to undo these 6. I'm going to use an impact wrench, but you could probably do it with a regular one, but somebody has to hold the crank bolt, or else these will actually, it'll rotate the entire engine. So I'm just going to use an impact to make it nice and easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Take this off. Alright guys, so here we have our flex plate that we just took off. There's this tiny little donut thing. I believe this is called drive plate, and I believe we have to save that, so don't mess that up if you can. And we took these 6 bolts off. I used an impact, and it took, probably like 20 minutes to get all of these off. They were pretty tight in there. So you might be able to have a little better luck a little faster if somebody holds the crank while you undo these. But other than that, I used the impact, and it ended up turning out just fine. I just had to, hit each one a whole bunch of times with the compressor going. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go under the car. Alright, so here we are under the car, and there's this big kind of washer thing, and we're going to need to get this out. So what we're going to go ahead and do is use a puller. So there's this, and then behind that there's actually another pilot bearing. So we're going to go ahead and get a puller, pull this out, and then pull the pilot bearing out as well. You can rent pullers from pretty much any auto parts store. I got mine from Pep Boys. You can get them at Harbor Freight, and you buy them along with a slide hammer, so that'll be able to get it out, and you'll get that leverage. So I'm going to go ahead and grab mine and put them in, and we'll see if we can get these out. Alright guys, here's that little metal donut we were trying to get out, and I swear I probably spent 5 hours on this yesterday trying to get it out. I used a pilot bearing puller and a slide hammer. I used vice grips. I used everything I could think of to try to get this guy out, and it just would not come out. Now, there were a lot of people on the Facebook groups who said that this was really easy to take out, and I saw a couple videos, a couple of them posted of that. So yours may actually come out really easy with a slide and a bearing puller. But one thing that is pretty easy that anybody can do without actually having to go get anything, you just get a 17mm wrench like this, and you just stick it in there, and you just kind of start hitting it with a hammer, just like you hit this end with a hammer, and you just kind of rotate it around, and I swear it came out 30 seconds of hitting. So 5 hours yesterday and 30 seconds today, and I got it out. I did use a bunch of PB Blaster on it, but I don't think that really did much. It was just really stuck in there, really grimy and everything. So now what we have is the pilot bearing still in there. My pilot bearing puller actually didn't look like it was going to fit, so I'm going to go ahead and try that out, and if not, I'll have to get a different one from, I don't know, like Harbor Freight or somewhere. But I'm also going to go ahead and clean up the crank surface inside as well. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that real quick. Alright, now we're going to start installing the clutch pedal. So there's a little block-off plate right here in the engine bay. You might have to remove the water reservoir for the windshield wipers. And it's got 2 Phillips heads in it. I've already taken those out. Those were actually pretty difficult to get out. And I don't know if you need to take them out or not, or if they're just there for fun. But it looks like it's kind of just pasted in with a glue. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little flat blade and a hammer and just start kind of chiseling around, seeing if I can get this plate off. Alright, so that was just a plate. You just use a little flap blade and it kind of just pulled the glue off. It was really easy. And as you can see, we've got a big hole for the middle and then 2 holes on the side, and that corresponds to, this is our clutch pedal right here. So we've got these 2 studs, and then so these are going to go through those little holes on the outside, and then we have our clutch master cylinder, which is going to go through the center here, and it's going to attach to that pin right there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually I'm going to mock this up. I'm going to see if this will fit in without having to remove the brake pedal, because I really don't want to do that. And if it will, and it doesn't look like it'll interfere too much, I'll probably just put this in for now, and at some point in the future I might go ahead and put the actual brake pedal in. But I'm going to see if this will fit, and if it does, I'm going to kind of just roll with it. Alright guys, what we're going to go ahead and do next is we're going to go ahead and pull this panel off from inside our car. It's just 2 Phillips heads at the bottom, super easy. You slide it down and then over the little hood latch. And then there's a little Phillips head that's going to be right here. It's going to be holding this vent and then also this vent on. You're going to go ahead and push this vent backwards once you undo it to get it around the hood latch, and then it should just come right down. Now as you can see right up there is our little hole for our clutch, and we're going to go ahead and stick that in there, and hopefully we'll be able to get it in a position where we can put a nut on the other side so it doesn't fall through. Alright guys, so as you can see I kind of got the clutch pedal mocked up. It's not through the studs, and then it's a little bit lower than it's going to be in the end, but as you can see it is overlapping with our current brake pedal, so we are going to have to go ahead and remove that. Now there's, I believe, 4 nuts on the back and then 2 on the top, and we also have these clips for the sensors, so we're going to go ahead and unclip these and unbolt those, and then, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, that little shaft that goes through to our brake master cylinder, we're going to have to undo the nut on that so that we can get that out. Alright guys, so I went ahead and took a slightly different approach than what I thought I was going to do. I was going to go ahead and take off this whole bracket and actually put the new entire assembly in, but it's actually really hard to get this bracket off. So there's 4 bolts on here. Those actually go through to the brake booster. I didn't realize that at first. That's what they do. It holds the brake booster on, and then you have there's like a bar that runs right here. It connects to that, and then you have another plate that runs over this and to these 2. I don't even know how the dude who sent this to me got it off. Like, you would have to disassemble the entire steering column. Like, the steering column bolts in right here, and then another like bracket right there. So it's really difficult. I don't understand why Nissan did it, and it's almost impossible to get to these 2 bolts on that side, or sorry, the ones on the inside here. It's almost impossible to get to those. I don't know what people did, but basically my approach, because I was looking at this bracket, it looks to be the exact same bracket. The only difference is these pedals. So I said, okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just take the pedal off. So you can see here's the old one with the big bar, here's the new one. You can see the new one curves in a lot further to make room for the clutch, but other than that they're the exact same thing. So you can see you got the springs, you got this little thing. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything from this that I need and put it onto this. I'm probably going to take my spring since it's a little less corroded, and then these 2 are bump stops for our brake and cruise control, and then this thing as well. This bracket actually goes, I'll show you inside. Alright, I hope you can see that. So that bracket I was talking to you about, it goes to that stud coming out, and that's the brake booster again. And basically what that does is it grabs onto it, and when you depress it, it pushes in. So what you have to do is you have to break off that lock nut on there, and then you can see those threads towards the back, the firewall. Basically just turn it, and it unscrews itself from the pedal itself. And then once you did that, there's 2 17 millimeters. There's a bolt and then a 17 millimeter pin. Actually, I have it right here. Here's the pin, and then the bolt is, somewhere around here. Basically, it was a little bit difficult to get to, and I had to actually break off whatever this thing was. It was attached up on the bracket, and it was just in my way, so I tried getting it off, and I couldn't. It's a Phillips head. So I actually just broke off the tab, and I'll zip tie it on somewhere later. But with 2 17 millimeter wrenches, this one and this one, I was able to get that pin out and then pull out the actual pedal itself. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer everything to the new pedal that I need, and then we're going to try to install it. Supposedly it's really difficult to get it back onto that, and we will definitely see, but it actually wasn't too hard. What I did do is I went ahead and loosened these sensors though, because as you loosen this off of the bracket, it actually pushes the pedal forward. That's part of your pedal adjustment if you guys are interested in that. So I went ahead and left the lock nut where it was so I can go ahead and replace it to where it was before. But I did loosen these sensors because as I was going back, it was hitting these and it was getting a little tension. And loosening those actually gave you about an inch play, which is perfect because I was screwed in about an inch. So yeah, let me go ahead and transfer those over, and we're going to put it back in with, and it should give us plenty of room for our new clutch pedal. Alright, as you can see, we got the new brake pedal in. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, that piece that goes to the brake booster. I've heard that it's hard to get that piece back on, but it honestly went like right back on for me. So I guess maybe watch out for that, but if not, the hardest part for me was getting the new pedal back in and putting the pin back through it, because I couldn't seem to get it through the hole, and I was like upside down in here, and it was just a big mess. But as you can see, it's on now, and it works great. I went ahead and adjusted the sensors again so that they're all where they need to be, and now we can put in our new clutch pedal. And I have it right here. Now, one thing you may notice, so they have these two studs that go back through the firewall, and then up here we have these two holes. These are also meant to anchor this in. So the person who sent me this, they forgot to send those. So if you are getting these from somebody else, ask them if they can send those two bolts. If not, I found these two right here. Now those two bolts, if you remember, this is the automatic transmission cooler line that we took off. They actually have a couple bolts that hold the line up to the car. Those bolts are from this. So if I had to guess, it'd probably be like an M8 something or another. You could, and if you find something that fits and you want to get an actual bolt, you can just take it to the parts store and they should be able to figure it out for you. But I found these two. There were three and I have one left, so I got these two and they fit perfectly in there. So I'm going to go ahead and set this in and bolt it to the top, and then we have our master cylinder that we're going to put on the outside. Alright guys, as you can see, I got all the pedals in. This is the new clutch pedal, our brake pedal, and the gas that was there from before. Now, one thing to note, let's see if we can get a look up here. Alright, so the clutch pedal has its own sensor, just like the brake one, and it's actually got a little connector that's hung up with the rest of them, but it's taped together. You can see the blue tape right there. Basically, you just cut the tape and it extends it long enough in order to plug in. It kind of attaches the same way as the brake pedal does, with a little kind of pin through, and then I forget what they're called, like a K pin or something. Just the little way it's like bent. But as you can see, we have it all in right now, and I did put the master cylinder in. Alright, here's our new master cylinder. This is our Exceedy. Got this off rockauto.com. Again, all the links to anything that I use here, anything that's bought and not used, I do have them on my website, thezgarage.net, and there's a link to all of them with about the approximate price that it's going to cost. So you can see I went ahead and put it in. It fits up really nicely. Now I did have to buy these bolts. These, I believe, are M8 by 1.5. I believe that's what they are. I got some, let's see, these are the M8 by 1.25, and they didn't quite fit. I think the thread was just a little bit coarser. So I'm going to return these and get an actual set. The ones that I have on right now are actually studs, or they're for the studs on the exhaust. I went ahead and bought a new studs and nuts kit when I thought I was going to be doing the swap just in case I broke any, but they turns out they fit just fine on this, so I'm going to have them there for now. And next, what we're going to do, this is our ISR Performance clutch line. It comes with two adapters in here, you can see them. So we're going to figure out which one of these fits in our master cylinder, and then we're going to go ahead and run the line. It's going to go back along the back here. You can kind of see right there's a few brake lines. We're going to run it with the brake lines. We're going to zip tie it up there, and then let's go down this frame rail and over to where our slave cylinder is going to be. Alright, so went ahead and put the ISR clutch line in, and it just comes around here, and we'll go ahead and follow the brake lines over here. I just put two zip ties there and there, and then it comes down. It's going to be out right here. I hope that this is long enough. It should be. So let's see. This is the starter right here, and hopefully it should just like that. But you know, we'll see, whatever. We'll just play it by ear. Hopefully this is what we need here. And I wanted to make one other little comment on the clutch pedal real quick. Alright, so in here, you may notice that your clutch pedal, it goes to the floor and it kind of just stays there. I've checked with a couple people and they say this is normal. Your clutch just does that when it's not in a pressurized system. It's the spring on the clutch and the fluid and everything that pushes this back. So as long as your clutch goes down and the spring doesn't fall out and then it comes back, you should be fine. One thing that I noticed is the clutch and the brake are actually at different levels right now. You can see that. So I might go ahead and adjust this. You adjust it with the little sensor thing. You just turn the sensor in, and then that'll stop it. I might adjust it in a little bit, but I don't know if that'll affect the clamping force if it's kind of in. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I wanted to say. The one thing that we didn't get done was the clutch and flywheel installation. That's because our pilot bearing, we couldn't get that the pilot bearing out because I have too big of a pilot bearing puller, which I guess there's different sizes or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a different one, and that's gonna be the next video. We're gonna go ahead and install the clutch and clutch plate on our flywheel, and then go ahead and stick it on the car. And we do save, remember guys, you do want to save this tiny little, this guy right here. We're going to save this. It's called the drive plate. We're going to keep that, and I believe it goes on before the clutch. So it goes crank, this, and then clutch on top of it. But other than that, guys, we're going to go install that in the next video. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. Let me know if you have any dogs that like riding in your cars. And I'm going to call that a day, and I will see you guys later.